how we handle our wilderness will determine how long we stay there and whether we will come out from it. A wilderness is a place where things are dry, where you have come out from your past, come out from the comfortable, come out maybe from the known, from the familiar. You have ventured out into the promises of God. You have ventured out into your promised land. You have dared to believe God. You followed God's promptings. You followed God's vision for your life. You came out of the comfortable, of the known, and you dared to go into the unknown. You dared to go for the better. You dared to go for the promise. You dared to go for your calling. And in between the past and your future, there lies a wilderness. In between the known, the comfortable, and in between the new, the promotion, the purpose, the promise, lies the wilderness. And everyone who dares to go into the next level, anyone who dares to embark and go after what God has promised them, will have to pass through wilderness. Now, how you pass through wilderness and how long you stay there, a lot will depend on you. Wilderness is a bridge that separates the past from your promise, your purpose, and your promotion. Wilderness is a great divider between those that choose to stay in their mediocrity, that choose to stay in the familiarity, that choose to stay in the same cycles, that choose to stay in the comfortable, and it's a great divider between those that choose to dare, that choose to go after what God has in store for them, for their promised land, that choose to step out, that choose to open a business, that choose to go to school, that choose to work hard for a promotion, they choose to strive to be better, to do better, and to reach the potential that God has put inside of them. Wilderness divides those that are willing and those that are complacent. Wilderness is necessary. Wilderness is a transitional period. Wilderness is not temporary. So if you find yourself today in a wilderness, if you find yourself in a place where it's not comfortable, you have left the known, you have not arrived in the promise, in what you have already known in your spirit, what you have already embraced in your spirit, in your mind, in your heart, in your vision. It's the great in between. And oftentimes, those that even dare to come out, those that even dare to try, those that even dare to push forward, they get lost in the wilderness. They get discouraged in the wilderness. They fall to temptations in the wilderness. And they get stuck in the wilderness. And oftentimes they die in the wilderness. And so, wilderness is not a temporary place. Wilderness is supposed to be transitional. You go through the wilderness. But the way we handle our wilderness, the way we handle our difficult times, the way we handle our transitional period, the way we handle that in between will determine whether we go back to Egypt, or whether we make it to the promised land, whether we die in a wilderness or get comfortable being in a wilderness and never achieve the desired goal, never achieve the promises of God. Everybody faces wilderness. For example, let's take example. For example, Elon Musk. When he bought this Tesla business, and he had a goal, he had a dream, he had a vision to revolutionize auto industry, to revolutionize and make it better in the area of electrical vehicles. And the idea was inspiring. He sold his very profitable, good business, which was PayPal. He was part of that. And he took all the money that he invested, or most of the money, and he bought Tesla and invested into Tesla business. And he left the comfortable, which was PayPal, and he was making a lot of money, good money. He made millions of dollars. And he ventured into this new venture. It was a company called SpaceX and Tesla. And he began to work his way towards the promised land, to make it as a car company, to revolutionize that industry. But in between, he found himself in a desert. He found his company, both companies actually, the SpaceX and the Tesla, struggling a lot. And in order to make it through the wilderness, he had to literally sleep on a factory floor. He had a tent on the roof of the factory where he slept. And he would be there on the floor, trying to be at the assembly lines, trying to figure out where the things, where there was a bottleneck, how to help keep pushing things moving forward, how to get cars off of assembly line. Sometimes they would be short on certain supplies. I mean, they had to even use zip ties and other things to make things fit, to make things tight, to make things work, just to keep it moving forward. It was a wilderness time. I mean, he shares that multiple times he was on the edge of, they were always on the edge of bankruptcy, but talking about few days away from bankruptcy and closing the doors. And so anybody that aspires to do great things, that leaves the comfortable and goes for the unfamiliar, goes for the new, will face a time of wilderness. And how you handle the time of wilderness will determine whether you come out on the other side. Same thing goes in a spiritual aspect. Same thing goes in every area and every aspect of life. So we determined that wilderness is necessary. It's a transitional period. It's not permanent. And how we handle our wilderness will determine how long we stay there and whether we will come out from it.